Today's feature of the week is the search and replace function in linear building. The inconspicuous dialog located behind this button in the toolbar is a powerful tool for many editing tasks in the building data. The best way to demonstrate the possibilities is to show some examples. In the first example, I would like to check the impact of the air change rate within all offices on the heating load in order to prove the saving potentials to the building owner by making appropriate adjustments. Since the air change rate is assigned to the respective rooms, I set the pre-selection here above to rooms. Now all rooms of the project are already listed in my result list. I can now further limit this selection by using the search filters. I use name as a filter to display only those rooms that have office in their name. I set the value to be replaced to air change rate, and I can see the currently set rates in my list. To check what effect the reduction has, I changed the value to 1.2. I can now either selectively change this directly in the list manually, or I replace all values at once by selecting the variable I want to replace and give it a new value. I click on Replace Values and the work is done. You see here below the previously calculated standard heat load of 88 watt per square meters, and if I now close the dialog, this is recalculated and we see that this is reduced to 83 watt per square meters if we adjust the air change rate accordingly. In this way, I can pass on the calculated savings effect to the building's owner in a blink of an eye. Next, let's take a look on the effect when reducing the standard set point temperature in the bathrooms from 24 degrees to 23 degrees. So I set the room temperature in heating case as a filter and look for all rooms with a temperature of 24 degrees. We replaced it with a new value of 23 degrees and look at the total heating load. When I close the dialog, the total heating load is recalculated again, and we immediately see that the influence of this change is only marginal, which was to be expected for an office building. The next example I want to check is the U value of the floor slab. To narrow down the search directly, I first select the ground floor. In the dialog, I then select the room components and set the filter adjoining to. Using the small button with the 3 dots, I then get a selection to define the filter. I select adjoining to ground and get all components that are adjoining to the ground. Here I notice that the list contains floors as well as walls, but since I only want to check the floors that are adjoining to the ground, I simply add the component type floor to the filter. And now I have exactly the list of components that I'm interested in with the U values assigned from the master tables, and can now specifically change the data in one go. As you can see, by combining the filters, you can define the selection exactly according to your criteria. I will leave the U values as they are for now, and we will look at how to detect modeling inaccuracies in the model as a final example. Inaccuracies in the modeling of the architect's model are certainly present in almost every model, but it is often very tedious to identify and subsequently clean them up. Errors often show up in the form of unrealistically small areas. To identify them, I search for all areas with a gross area smaller than 0.1 square meters. Now we see that there are 2 wall segments that are unrealistically small. I now save this filter list into our protocol and can then navigate by the entries I just made, do a coarse research, and decide whether I must change something. I can also use the CAD model to see what's going on. With the function show selected element in CAD, the affected component is displayed directly in the model. So we easily navigate to the element and realize that in this case there is a small modeling error and I can just remove or ignore this wall segment. This was only a small selection of the possible use cases of our search and replace function, but already shows very nicely how easily you can check and adjust specific values or quickly identify errors in the model. That's workflow instead of workaround.